Hello class, and welcome to chapter 11, which is going to be about analyzing data and graphs. We're going to start today by talking about sections 11(1)(b) and D, which cover mean, median, mode, and range. By the end of the lesson, you will be able to identify and use these concepts. We got a lot of vocab here to start out. So this is going to get into our statistics unit. Statistics is the branch of math that deals with collecting, organizing, and interpreting data. Data is just a singular piece of information. For our purposes, it's usually going to be some sort of numerical piece of information that's going to be collected and analyzed. The range is going to be the difference between the largest and the smallest piece of data. So you take the maximum, you subtract away the minimum, and that tells you how far spread out the data is. Then we have our three other vocab words, which are mean, median, and mode. All of those are called measures of central tendency. That's looking at what is going to be in the middle of the data. There's three different ways we can think about the middle. The first is the mean. This is where you add up all of the data and then divide by the number of data pieces. This is known as the average of the data. So you're putting it all together and trying to figure out what's in roughly the center. The median is the middle number when the data is organized from least to greatest. So you'd put them all in numerical order, cross off the ends until you found what was in the middle. And then the mode is your number that occurs most frequently. So it's the number that repeats most often in your data set. There's different times when each of these measures are going to be appropriate, but those are our three measures of central tendency. So we're going to start by looking at the mean. So in order to find the mean, we need to add up our data points and then divide by the number of points. So in this particular problem, we have four different states that we're looking at. For Tennessee, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 representatives. Kentucky has 6. Virginia gets 11. And South Carolina also gets 6. So the first thing you would do is 9 plus 6 plus 11 plus 6. And that is going to give you an answer of 32. Then you take that and divide by the number of data points. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4 states. So when you divide by 4, you get an answer that the mean is 8 representatives. So again, you add them all up, and then you divide by the number of data points, which in this case gave us the 8 representatives. Go ahead and try this one on your own, finding the mean number of CDs purchased. So you add them all up, 3 plus 4 plus 6 plus 0 plus 2 gives you 15. Dividing by your 5 data points gives you 3 CDs as the mean number. We can also use the mean to find missing values. When you are trying to find a missing value, the first step is the same. So you want to add up all of your numbers. So 110 plus 120 plus 110 plus 135 plus 140 plus 120, plus 105, plus we don't know what. So when I add up all of my numbers, that's going to give me 840 plus something I don't know, and then we're trying to find the mean. So that whole thing is going to go in parentheses, and then we're going to divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of data. The 7 pieces that we do know and the 1 that's missing. And then when we do that, we want the mean in this case to equal 135. This gets into an equation that we need to solve. If you remember back from the beginning of the year, we learned about something called SAD-MEP, aka PEMDAS backwards. This is how we solve equations. Notice, parentheses are at the last part of SAD-MEP. So we're going to do this parentheses part last, which means that the first thing we need to get rid of is this dividing by 8 because it's outside of our parentheses. Opposite of dividing is multiplying, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 8. That means this cancels out, and now I have 840 plus x is equal to, when I do 135 times 8, I get 1,080. Then I can solve inside the parentheses, so the opposite of adding is going to be subtracting. So I'm going to subtract 840 from both sides, because that cancels out now. And that's going to give me a final answer of x is equal to $240. So that missing price that we're looking for is $240. Go ahead and try this one on your own, where the number of minutes Marianne spends talking on her cell phone each month for the past 5 months were 494, 502, 486, 690, and 478. Suppose the mean for 6 months was 520 minutes. How many minutes did she talk on her cell phone during the 6th month? So go ahead and try this one on your own. So you add up the values that you have, the 5 that you were given, plus that bonus 6th month, and then you're going to divide by 6. So to get rid of dividing, you multiply. To get rid of adding, you subtract, and you find out in that last month she talked 542 minutes. So that covers our mean information. Now we're going to talk about the median and the mode. In order to find the median and the mode, for the median, we need to put our data in order. So from least to greatest. So looking at our numbers here, my smallest number is 12, and then I have 16, and then I have 18 twice, and then I have 25, 28, 30, 34, 36, 42, and 44. So I put my data in order from least to greatest. Now, to find the middle number, that median, I'm going to cross off the biggest and the smallest and the biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest. So your median is what's left over in the middle, which is 28. So there's a median of 28 monkeys at the zoo. The mode is looking for the number which occurs most frequently. In this case, that's going to be 18, because that is the number that is repeated twice. So the mode is 18 monkeys. Go ahead and try this one on your own, finding the median and the mode. So putting your numbers in order, finding the median, it's going to be 30 stories, and then the mode, the number that repeats the most, is 40 stories. Last piece of information is going to be the range. So the table gives the weight and diameters of coins used in the U.S. Find the weight or the range of the weights. So in order to find the range, we need the biggest number. So looking at the weight, our biggest number is 5.670. And our smallest number, which is going to be 2.268, then we need to find the range, which means you are going to subtract them. So when you do your subtracting, we're going to borrow from the 7, and we're going to get 2, 0, 4, 3. So our range is 3.402 grams. So that means the data is all within 3.402 grams. Go ahead and find the range of the diameters on your own. So our biggest one, 24.26, subtracting the smallest, which is 17.91, gives you a range of 6.35 millimeters. Last thing, when you analyze data, you usually look at all of the data points together. So in this case, we are looking at the data points for the cost of backpacks. So for the mean, first thing I would do is 16.78 plus 48.75 plus 31.42 plus 18.38 plus 22.98 plus 51.25 plus 28.54 plus 26.79. And when I add all of those up, I'm going to get an answer of 244.8. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 backpacks. So I'm going to divide that total by 8. And my mean is going to be $30.60. Then we need to go through and find the median. So for the median, this is where we have to put them in order. So putting them in order, we've got 16.78, and then we've got 18.38, and then we've got 22.89, and then we've got $26.79, and then $28.54, followed by $31.42 and $48.75, and our biggest price of $51.25. Then you need to go through and do your crossing out. So smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest. Now we run into a little bit of a problem because if I crossed out the smallest and the biggest again, there'd be nothing left. When this happens, in order to finish finding the mean, what you need to do, if you end up with two numbers in the middle, is do 26.79 plus 28.54, or whatever the numbers are, put that in parentheses, and then divide by 2. So when you do that, 26.79 plus 28.54 gives you 55.33. Dividing by 2 gives you 27.665. But we're talking about money here, so we can only have 2 decimal places. So we're going to have 27.6, and then the 5 tells me to round up to 67. So my median is 27.67. And then I need to look at the mode. That's the number that repeats. If you look at our price list here, none of our numbers repeat. So there is no mode in this problem. It doesn't exist because none of the numbers repeat. Then the last thing it asks us to find is the range, which means we need to take our largest cost, which is $51.25, and subtract our cheapest backpack, which is $16.78. So our price range is $34.74. So finding all 4 of those pieces of information for one data set. Go ahead and try this one on your own. finding the mean, the median, the mode, and the range. When you do this, we've got the mean, add them all up, divide by 4 data points is 62.4 degrees. The median, cross off the biggest and the smallest. Then you have to add and divide by 2, giving you 61.3 for the median. There is no mode, and the range is 15.4 degrees. If you have questions about this or anything else from the lesson, please feel free to reach out and let me know.